first is the ITV Evening News.
Trump calls on the UK to escort oil shipments past Iran. As the war enters its third week, the US president is under growing pressure over its effect on global energy prices.
You're going to see a very big decrease in the price of gasoline, gas, anything having to do with energy as soon as this is ended.
Here, the Chancellor pledges help for those hit by soaring energy bills as a result of the war and... Nearly men once again. Scotland miss out on Six Nations glory.
This is ITV News.
It's Sangita Lal.
Good evening. President Donald Trump has called on the UK and other nations to send warships to protect oil shipments in the Strait of Hormuz. The Ministry of Defence hasn't ruled that out this afternoon, saying it was discussing a range of options with our allies. It comes as the Iran war enters its third week with no end in sight. In the past 24 hours, the US and Israel have continued to strike Iran, which has launched more attacks on its Gulf neighbours and Israel, while Israel continues to trade blows with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Mahatir Pasha reports.
6,000 Iranian targets have been struck since this war began, according to the US military. But President Donald Trump may have just raised the stakes in Operation Epic Fury. The US has, quote, obliterated Iranian military targets on Kharg Island, an export terminal for 90% of the country's oil shipments. The president claiming he had deliberately chosen not to wipe out the oil infrastructure on the small island off the coast of Iran, but warned that decision could change depending on how Iran chooses to operate in the Strait of Hormuz. That strait is a vital waterway for global energy shipments, but has effectively been shut since the war began, prompting oil prices to soar. In his latest post on social media, Trump said hopefully China, France, Japan, South Korea, the UK and others will send ships to the area so that the Hormuz Strait will no longer be a threat. Previously, the White House had said that it would be the US Navy that would escort tankers through the straits, but still no exact timelines for when that's happening.
It'll happen soon.
How long now do you think the war is likely to last?
I can't tell you that. I mean, I have my own idea, but what good does it do? It'll be as long as it's necessary.
No doubt this war is taking its toll on Iran. Reportedly, around 1,500 people have so far been killed. Today, a military funeral was held in Tehran for another senior government official. But the wounded nation isn't backing down. Plumes of black smoke surrounded the US embassy compound in Baghdad, as well as a major energy depot in the UAE, both of which were reportedly hit following the US strikes on Kharg Island. In spite of growing calls for a stop, including from its Palestinian ally Hamas, Iranian missiles and drones still pose a threat to its Gulf neighbours. As the war enters its third week, fears of global consequences are only getting worse. Mahatir Pasha, ITV News.
Here, British consumers who rely on heating oil could be in line for government help after their costs more than doubled as a result of the war. Today, the Chancellor promised a package of support and also hinted at future help for gas and electricity customers. Well, Saba Chowdhury is at number 11. Saba, Rachel Reeves' intervention is likely to be welcome, but it's hard to say without more detail.
Good evening, Sangita. Yes, a targeted support package is expected next week, but at this stage we don't yet know what will be in it. Now, this comes after the war in Iran has doubled the cost of heating oil, affecting around 1.5 million households in the UK that not only rely on it, but also aren't protected by the Ofgem energy price cap. But the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has said that she has a solution. Speaking to the Times newspaper, she said, "I have found the money, and we've worked through with MPs and others a response for people who are not protected by the energy price cap. We're giving greater support to those who really need it." But what about those that don't use heating oil? Many people are left questioning. Well, Rachel Reeves has said that the Treasury is currently working through the options, but really the government have some time to work through that, given that gas and electric bills are currently fixed by the Ofgem energy price cap until June. But if the war continues, if Iran maintains its stranglehold over the Strait of Hormuz, then households could see a dramatic hike by July time, and also analysts are saying they could be as high as 10%.
Thank you, Saba. In other news, the body of a man has been found in a wheelie bin in a park in Coventry. A member of the public made the discovery yesterday evening. West Midlands police say the man appears to be between 40 and 50 years old and may have been hit by a car before being deposited in the council bin. Fly tippers could be banned from driving as part of a new crackdown. Courts will be given the power to add penalty points to their licences upon conviction. It's hoped it will act as a deterrent to fly tippers who rely on their vehicles. And former Prime Ministers Sir Tony Blair and Gordon Brown have led tributes to the former Labour MP Phil Willis, who's died at the age of 66. The former MP for Oldham East and Saddleworth served as a minister in both their governments. Rugby's Six Nations reaches its climax tonight in Paris, but it will not be Scotland celebrating. The Scots' hopes of a first title in 27 years would dash this afternoon when they lost their final match to Ireland, 43 points to 21. Ireland's win brings the team hope of being champions, but now they have to rely on an out-of-form England beating the French. Here's Chris Scudder.
The words of the anthem are telling. When will we see a Scottish Six Nations title? It's been misery for years at the hands of Ireland. They had lost 11 in a row against them, and Ireland were quickly at it again. The Irish knew they too could snatch the crown on the final day and saved some of their best rugby for when it mattered. And he does again! Scotland had not won the title since it was only 5 nations back in 1999, and they battled away at the numbers game with 3 tries of their own. But they could not repeat the magic of their win against France last weekend, and Tommy O'Brien's 2 late tries ended their dreams of glory. Ireland will drink to another triple crown and the chance of the overall title, but they must hope that England do them a favour by stopping France in Paris tonight, and on current form, that looks a long shot. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
And that's all for now. I'll be back with the late news at 11:15 tonight. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.